I'm gonna do a very simple fix here. Whoop. Whoop. Perfect. Hello again, Internet. This is Olin from What I'm Listening to. Today, I'm excited to do a sequel to one of my vlogs. I didn't think I would do this, but considering the stuff I've been getting over the last couple weeks, I felt that it was time to do a sequel to the experimental vlog. Everything that I am about to show you here are all taken from the experimental section or by experimental bands from different spots. I love experimental music, you know this by now if you watch my videos, so I'm excited to do this again. So with that being said, let's begin. First thing I have here is from the bargain area. This is a band called Black Dice. I picked up their first album and I talked about it in a vlog, I can't remember which one. When I finally got around to listening to it, I thought, whoa, this is super cool. The reason I had picked up that album in the first place was because they were playing it at the store over their speakers, and I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh my god, this is super cool. So when I actually listened to it from my headphones, I thought it was even better. They're just this weird band that's like noise but ambient, and there's really no structure to the music. It just could be like a droning sound that keeps going, and layers of noise just build upon it, and it just turns into this massive thing that's awesome and weird at the same time. Needless to say, after hearing that first album, I wanted to hear more by them. So I got this one. They had a lot of their material, and it was to the point where I had no idea which one I wanted to even get. I had to do some research online, and I found that this one was one of their more acclaimed ones by their fans. And it was even better because it's only $1.99, so I decided, okay, let's check this one out. If it's anything like their first album, it should be cool. I'm excited to check it out. The next album here was taken from the Grouper section. This is Mirroring. Mirroring is a collaboration between Grouper and some other musician who, unfortunately, his name is escaping me. I'll probably put their face right here. But it's a collaboration between her and this other person, and it's really good. Much like Grouper's solo stuff, it's folky and ambient and atmospheric in such beautiful ways. The main reason I got this is because I didn't think a physical copy of this existed until one day I was perusing through the experimental section and came across it. I love Grouper and I love what she makes. She just has great music. Pretty much every album she's put out has never disappointed me, and this one included. It's released by Cranky, who I've talked so much about. Everything they've put out is amazing. Worth checking out. The next one is yet another Cranky release. This is a musician named Jessica Bailiff. I talked about Jessica in, I believe it was the all vinyl vlog. She collaborated with Dave Pierce from Flying Saucer Attack, and they were under the name Clear Horizon. That's how I first discovered who she even was. Much like the Mirroring album, I stumbled across this one and had no idea that a physical edition had even existed. I wanted to look into her solo stuff because I really hadn't heard that much by her. This is a different album, so I was anticipating more Clear Horizon-esque stuff, but instead it's a lot more dark folk, which is good because dark folk is really spooky and cool. I think there is at least like one song on here that was very reminiscent of the Clear Horizon material that she worked with, but overall it's still super cool. She's got a couple more albums. I haven't checked them out. I'm probably going to after hearing this one. This is very good, and I believe all of them were released by Cranky. So once again, Cranky just pumping out solid releases. This one's included, and that cover is creepy as fuck. Look at that. I'm excited to own this one. It's a great listen. She's really good.
Now we sleep, dream alone.
Next one I have here is a musician named Roy Montgomery. I talked about Roy in the first experimental vlog. I can't remember if I did, but I may have mentioned his name in that vlog when I talked about the Harmony of the Spheres box set. To go into more detail, Roy is this dude from New Zealand who is this phenomenal guitarist. He's done a bunch of post-rock sounding stuff, and he's even worked with other musicians. Like he collaborated with Bardo Pond, and they went under the name, I believe, is Hash Jar Oil, which into itself was very similar to Bardo Pond, their space rock psychedelic stuff, but with Roy's nice guitar flourishes to it. I own Roy's first album, which I really, really enjoyed. I believe that was put out by Drunken Fish. And then I came across this one. I think this is his third album, once again put out by Drunken Fish. Like the other two albums, I got it because I didn't know it existed, and there never really seems to be much physical media by Roy at Amoeba. So of course when I found this, I needed to get it because I do really like his work and I want to explore more of his stuff. Lately too, I've been listening to the track he contributed to on the Harmony of the Spheres. I've just been listening to it over and over again. It's like a 20-minute song, but it's just these insane layered guitars. It just sounds so cool, and I love it. I'm hoping that it's similar to that song or just his material in general. He's got great music. This album's called And Now the Rain Sounds Like Life is Falling Down Through It. It's such an ominous title. It just sounds great, and I'm excited to check this one out. Next one is actually a compilation album. This is put out by the label Brainwashed. This is a 3-disc box set that I believe is a compilation of songs and bands that the label were very influenced by. I don't know if necessarily they put out material by the bands on here, but I know that some of the stuff, most of the stuff on here just inspired the label. It features bands, actually like Jessica Bailiff's on here, Wendy and Carl's another great one, the legendary Pink Dots, Bedhead, and Stars of the Lid are on here, all of which are just fantastic bands. There's so much to be explored here, and the fact that it was only $5.99 for 3 discs, just of all experimental music, I just could not pass that up. Plus the packaging is really cool. I don't know, it was very appealing to me. All of it's kind of smushed in here just because the box isn't quite big enough to fit these square pieces of paper. And it came with a poster, which is actually hanging on my door. Oop. That's it right there. So I'm excited to explore this. I've only really listened to a couple of the songs on here. I like what I've heard, and I'm just excited to see what else this thing has to offer. Next up is, once again, another compilation. I talked about this in the all vinyl vlog. Every time I go to Amoeba, I always look at the Flying Saucer Attack area in hopes that there's going to be something there that I've never seen before. That's how I discovered their newest album, Instrumentals 2015. And so when I went to the Berkeley Amoeba, I went to the Flying Saucer Attack area, and needless to say, I found something I'd never seen. And this was it here. Initially, I thought that this was a full-length album that they had put out and I just had never heard of. But I looked, and in the corner here it says, File under Flying Saucer Attack. It was interesting because it's just, this thing is just so ominous. There's nothing, there's not even information on the side. There's no text on the cover here. The only thing that's on the back is the bands that are featured on here. And the title of this, which is called Waiting to Be Old. I believe this is a compilation for another label. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, there's just not much known about this. But it features work by Bardo Pond, Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth is on here, and a bunch of other bands that I've never heard of. But seeing as it had something by Flying Saucer Attack, I didn't know if I owned the song or not, and as it turns out I did, but just on vinyl, so I'm excited to have this on CD. And I'm also excited to hear what the other bands on here sound like, so this should be a cool listen. And finally, speaking of Flying Saucer Attack, I think these are the things I am most excited about. I have 2 LPs by Flying Saucer Attack themselves. The reason I'm excited about these is because these are the last 2 full-length albums that were literally just reissued on vinyl. They are the last ones that I didn't own on vinyl until right now. So as of today, I own all of Flying Saucer Attack's studio albums on vinyl, which is so exciting to me because this band just means so much to me. This is their first album. This is self-titled, or it's also known as Rural Psychedelia. This album is the reason why I have explored experimental music and am where I am today with experimental music in general. I remember back, I believe I was in high school, looking up information about the genre called space rock, and the only thing I had really heard was Hawkwind's material. I stumbled upon a list of bands that were categorized as space rock, and Flying Saucer Attack's name stuck to me immediately. I saw that and I thought, I need to know what that is. Not much information was really known about them, but I came across this album and I saw this cover, and much like Flying Saucer Attack's band name, I thought, oh my god, what is that? It looks super cool. There was no text, there's very little information about it. That's one of the reasons why I love album covers with no text. I like just seeing a picture, liking it, and thinking, I wonder what's on there, I have to see. So I got the album digitally and was listening to it, and had been listening to it for years and years, and I just thought, this is incredible. This is unlike anything I had ever heard, ever. It's just, it blew my mind. Eventually down the line, I discovered Amoeba and was wanting to just buy everything by Flying Saucer Attack. I didn't know anything about them. There was very little information about them up until now. But back then, they were just this duo band from Bristol that put out stuff and had this cult following. So now I own this one on vinyl, which has a special place in my heart. And I own this one. This one's called Distance, and it's technically their second release. It's not their studio album. It's a compilation of various B-sides and singles that they released prior to releasing the first album. Both of these are phenomenal albums. Everything this band has put out is just incredible, and I am very, very happy that I'm the proud owner of these. Okay, internet, that does it for me. I should probably go edit a vlog because it's Wednesday and I don't really have something to post. So until then, this is Olin from what I'm listening to, signing out. Goodbye.